Hey, my name is Greg Abate, and I'm at the Cookie Jar in Leicester, England, and I'm playing a concert tonight here with a trio, including Nick Hislam on drums, with Bill Coleman on bass, and Neil Hunter on piano. I've been on the road in England for about a week now, and I'll be touring till the 21st, and then going back to America, where I live, and be traveling there for a few weeks. So it's the evolution of my musical studies. I've been playing with different bands from, you know, Ray Charles to Artie Shaw to doing rhythm and blues, and then learning about Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie, and all the great jazz players. I just evolved into playing jazz for my living, and I also teach jazz. I try to teach jazz, you know. And so that's happening. It's just evolution in my learning and studying and playing different gigs. It just keeps going, you know. And I think that it's a passion I have to play, and making a living playing jazz, you have to learn to also be able to maneuver that in public. And I guess it's a very honorable thing to play music, I think, and to give pleasure to people that know and understand jazz. It's not an ego-ridden thing, although it does. I get a lot of satisfaction from playing, and I feel like it's always a pleasure, you know. And you know, there's always something to do and learn. It's amazing all the things you can learn and how much you can't learn because of time. Even if you had all the time, you know, it's like been said many times that the more you know that you don't know. You know what I mean? Yes. First jazz album was 1990, I think 1990, live at Birdland, New York. My first one, in the late great James Williams was playing piano, Rufus Reed on bass, and Kenny Washington was the drummer. And I did that one. Candid Records.
Okay.
I played a lot of scales, and I would practice reading big band charts. I played a lot of, you know, I played all the different instruments in big band, like alto down to tenor to baritone, different times. And I learned well, a lot about the standards, learning different tunes, and I tried to practice transposing, and I practiced by writing music, and I practiced a lot of patterns and things from different method books, you know. Yeah, I wasn't really, I wasn't a real formidable practitioner, because I jump around a lot. You know, I didn't really have a focus and a schedule to follow. You know, I didn't have a practice routine. I'd play a tune, improvise on it, practice by myself, you know, practice scales, learn all the modes, and, you know, study harmony and try to compose music. Because I think myself as a composer when I play, more than improvisation, I'm like creating melodies and they become my solos. But there would be melodies that I wouldn't be writing down for a song. But basically it's the same thing. When you improvise and play jazz, you're actually in the moment and you're like, that's it, you know. Not premeditated. I don't like to think of myself as a planner. when I play something. When I play something, it's just feeling from what I get from everybody else. It's a hard question. Mystical. It's a mystical thing, you know. It's tough. Jazz. I find that the word jazz can, you know, and people's idea of jazz, a lot of people don't even know what it is. It's like, it's almost like being a tourist and going to a club that you know is a jazz club, and you don't have the first idea about what you're listening to or what it means. And you talk through a whole performance and not even know that people are there to listen to the music. And unless it's in, you know, so jazz to me is like a mystical word that encompasses the whole sequence from the beginning of the Black American heritage, starting from before the vaudeville, going into the trials and tribulations of the South of the United States, and how the blues started off into the blues music, and that became a painful type of thing, which happened because of what was happening in people's lives. There was a comfort to do, and that became, people embraced that, and formed this music. It became like blues, and then the swing era, and things happened, but the whole thing of the blues was like the basis of jazz to me. Real, you know, jazz blues, not, well, you know, 1-4, 1-5-4-1 type chords are like, you know, rock and roll blues, which is, you know, still blues, but the jazz musicians took it like, you know, many steps ahead of that. And then, you know, of course, the great players, like, they innovated from the swing bands, like Charlie Parker and Dizzy Gillespie. They created the bebop thing, you know, which is like really intense, kind of like demanding virtuosity of a player to be able to play what they did and compose music. And then, you know, the people that are listening to this obviously may know the great players that have set a voice and music on all the instruments, you know. Hundreds.
Okay.
So jazz is like all that to me. So when I play a tune, this is all in my head about why I'm doing this, because I know where it came from. So every note is got that thing with it, you know. It's not just like making a note.
Depth. It's got depth.
Yeah. I guess it's just being able to record, you know, numerous amount of recordings and have them be so different and have brought me to play in different areas of the world. Just being able to, I mean, the achievement of being able to play my instrument. You know, I mean, I play pretty well, but I know I've got a lot that I want to do. And in that a lot that I want to do, I don't want it to be just more notes. I want it to be notes that happen differently, but I don't know how it's going to happen yet. You can always play. You can always play in your studio or your house, and you can always play. But if you want to play and be able to have your voice known and offer something to that music as a contribution of your own personality and your art, you have to stand strong and like know there's a lot of negative. It's not all positive. You get a lot of rejection, and it's hard in the business to like network because you're dealing with the more modern world now, where playing jazz is very difficult for students. You can learn it in the college and university, but to go out and do it, people can take advantage of students. They'll say, well, yeah, you can play in my place. Well, I get some free music, and you guys can have some food, and do that. I mean, you can do that once in a while, but you got to draw the line. You have to like say, well, listen, we've come to this point where we do this for a living too. We need to make some money for what we do. Spend thousands of hours playing, studying music, in as much as any other profession or more. And people just don't know.
Yeah.
It's how can they? Because like I wouldn't know about, you know, some sort of space shuttle, how it works, you know, but I'm interested to know, but I wouldn't want to do that.
Okay.
Well, one of the reasons was I met this gentleman in San Jose, California, who had some contacts in England because he was an Englishman from London who migrated to California. And his son, Nick Hislam, who I'm playing with tonight, I met like probably over 10, 12, 13 years ago. It was a long time ago. And I met him through his dad. And then also there was someone I met in California as well that turned me on to a festival person in Tinmouth. And you know what Tinmouth is? It's in Devon. Yeah. And I played the Untitled Jazz Festival, and then I met a lot of people through that festival that gave me contacts. And my agent lives near Tinmouth now. Her name is Pam Hedworth, and she has a jazz club in Torquay. And she not only books me there, but she sets up a lot of my tours, all my tours in England, and arranges my train tickets and all. But also Nick Hislam, the son of Sid, you know, I got out here several years ago, played in Leicester. I think the first place I played was the Coyote. Yeah, and then, you know, I played at the Y, and I played at the University, and I've been here a couple of times at the Cooper Jar in Leicester. Done some workshops, I do a lot of those too.
Yeah.
So that's how I got here.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus, I like so many of them. I have no favorites.
No favorites.
I like every one when I play it. I don't know, there's no favorites.
No favorites, okay.
I'm working on new music for a new recording, and I just hope it gets more promotion. A lot of my recordings seem to be good and that they're well liked and reviewed, but they don't seem to have catalyst me into where I feel I'd like to be in my career. And more bookings worldwide. You know, I get, you know, agents that would book me in France or Italy, Spain, and, you know.
Right, so the whole of Europe, basically.
All of Europe, yeah.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, my name is Greg Abate, and you are watching Leicester Jazz House TV.